For the longest time on this channel, we've talked about how heat mats can be very beneficial, but can also be potentially detrimental if used incorrectly. And so in today's episode, we're going to talk all about when to use a heat mat and when not to. Because after all, we do sell heat mats over at MIgardener.com. And many of you have bought our heat mats. This is our jumbo size, absolutely huge, by the way. And we also have our smaller size. Our jumbo size fits 4 full-size flats, and our small size fits a single flat. I absolutely love our heat mats. They are incredible quality, and they're used by thousands of gardeners all around the country. But I've never really talked at length about when to use one and when not to use one. And I feel that if we're gonna sell heat mats, we probably should cover this topic. So let's get into it. Heat mats can be an incredibly beneficial resource for us starting seeds. And so I wanna start off by just kind of talking about the times when you would use it and when it'd be a benefit to you. And then I want to touch on stuff that you just kind of want to be careful of, because here's the thing, is that heat mats, they give off heat, and heat can be very beneficial when starting seeds. That is really the only time you should be using a heat mat, is when starting seeds. If you're growing in an environment that's cooler, like out in this greenhouse, right? Today it's probably 40, 45 degrees inside this greenhouse. It's pretty chilly. Seeds are not going to love this environment to grow in. They can germinate in soil that's 50 to 55 degrees, 60 degrees, but they don't love it, and the germination rate is going to be spotty and pretty slow. Whereas if we were to put them on a heat mat, it would slowly raise the temperature of the soil up to around 80 to 85 degrees, that beautiful sweet spot that they germinate quickly and consistently in, giving us really great results quite quickly. And so if you're growing in a basement, basements are typically cooler, an unheated garage, or maybe your garage is just cold and drafty, maybe you're growing in a greenhouse, right? These are environments where it's going to be cooler, and that soil is going to be cooler, causing you to have those inconsistent results. And a heat mat can absolutely help to give you the boost that you're looking for. And that's really, when I say that's the only time a heat mat should be used, it's kind of the truth. That's the only time a heat mat should be used, because if you use a heat mat in any other circumstance, you could risk harming your seedlings. Now, here's the thing, right? I love this jumbo one. It's so much growing space. It's unbelievable. Here's the thing, is that this is where some mistakes start to get made. It can be absolutely beneficial for warming soil and starting seeds. That's pretty cut and dry. And if you thought I'd have a massive 5-point list of when the best time to use a heat mat is, you'd be wrong. It's beneficial to use it until it's no longer beneficial. And at that point, it is a tool that you should put away and store for next year. And it's okay to do that. It's okay to have a tool that you use for a week to 2 weeks and are done with it. Because the week to 2 weeks that you are using that tool is probably the most important 2 weeks of your entire garden, getting off to a good, consistent start. After that, don't feel like you need to use it, because feeling like you need to use it can give you those improper, those inconsistent results or even poor results. So the next thing I want to talk about is when to be careful with heat mats. So I got my 4 trays set up here. Let's say this one was tomatoes. Let's say this one was peppers. And let's say these 2 were broccoli. 3 different types of crops, right? Your broccoli doesn't need a heat mat. Don't put it on a heat mat. Under no circumstances should broccoli or any cold weather crop be on a heat mat. Lettuce, broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, kale, off a heat mat. Do not put them on a heat mat. They will do far better without it. They get stressed from warm soil. It causes them to go to seed. It causes them to get leggy. They do not like it. Do not put them on a heat mat. Then you're left with tomatoes and peppers. Tomatoes germinate a lot faster than peppers do. Tomatoes are sprouting. Peppers are not. Once your plants sprout, pull them off. This is why gardeners have poor results, is they leave their plants on the heat mat the whole time. They think that, well, tomatoes are a summer crop. They like warm soil. Wrong. They like warm soil as they're growing. But generally, you'll find if your soil is well hydrated, it's well mulched, it's shaded by foliage, that soil is not going to be 85 degrees. It's just not. It's going to be 60, 65 degrees, maybe 70 degrees. Warmer than that, and the plants actually start to get stressed. The soil is relatively cool, believe it or not. And so the warm soil is only beneficial for starting seeds. Once the seeds have been started and you have seedlings, take them off, turn off the heat mat, roll it up, and put it away for another growing season. Or start another round of seedlings. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever, because again, this tool is a tool. It's not an entire seed starting method, right? It's just a tool to help us start seeds. So it's okay to roll it up and put it away for the next gardening season, even if you only use it for 2 weeks. Heat mats can also increase evaporation. And so it's very important that when using heat mats that you don't suffer from dehydrated seedlings or dried out soil, because that inconsistent water can actually lead to poor germination as well. So if I were to be growing seedlings on this heat mat, I really want to make sure that I'm misting it quite regularly, making sure that I'm bottom watering and keeping that moisture adequate in the seed starting tray. Otherwise, you're going to have inconsistent results from that as well. It's just very important to realize that heat leads to evaporation, and evaporation leads to a lack of water, and seedlings need consistency. They need consistent temperature and consistent moisture in order to germinate properly. So it's very, very important that we take care of the moisture aspect as well. The third thing that I want to make sure that you're careful of is if you are trying to sprout seeds that don't need really warm soil, like say 85 degrees, but maybe you want to get it up to like 70 or 75 degrees. Maybe you just have a very cold environment, like in this greenhouse here. We want to add a buffer. Now, we don't sell a buffer for these heat mats simply because not everyone is going to use them, and it would be extra time materials when you can really just do this pretty inexpensively. Go out and get yourself some corrugated cardboard. I'm sure you have some corrugated cardboard showing up your house in like an Amazon box even. Cut that corrugated cardboard into a square and set it on top of your heat mat. What that's going to do is then when you take your seed starting tray and you sit it on top, what that's going to do is corrugation has an air pocket. And that air pocket is going to act as a buffer that's going to allow the heat to diffuse out the sides slowly up through the top, but it won't be as direct. That direct heat can sometimes be too much for seedlings that don't need 80 to 85 degree temperatures, because these heat mats are meant to warm up to a certain threshold and then regulate from there. They only warm up to a certain temperature, but they don't just keep warming up forever. They warm up to a certain temperature and they basically hit a maximum threshold and they self-regulate. So if you have seeds that need 70 or 75 degrees, you just want to aid their germination, you want to speed up that germination, but you don't want them to be at 80, 85, that corrugated cardboard can immensely help to just cut down on that and give them a little bit of insulation so they're not quite so direct. The fourth thing that I wanted to mention that can be a mistake with using your heat mats is using them around a water source. I want to caution you because these are electric. And obviously, we always know, don't plug in your hair dryer next to your sink. Don't plug in your curling iron next to your bathtub. These are basic things that we've all been told or should have been told. But a lot of times we forget about the fact that this is an amazing gardening tool, but we're growing plants. We're watering seedlings. Keep this well away from the source of water, because I don't want anyone to have an electrical fire or to get electrocuted unnecessarily, or ever. That came out wrong, but you know what I mean. Just keep this common sense. Keep this well away from your source of water. And that's why the plug, this cord is nice and long so that you can water your seedlings. This is wonderful. If it gets punctured at all, that's something to be concerned about as well. If it gets punctured or scraped or ripped or broken open, because you don't want to expose this to water. But this is all safe to get wet. You can get this wet, no problem at all. But absolutely be careful of that. That's the fourth and final thing to really be careful of, because you can really ruin your day super fast by electrocuting yourself. Now, the final thing I wanted to say is some other fun, beneficial uses for these heat mats. So over the years, we've had so many people that have written in saying, I use your heat mat. I use your heat mat only a tiny bit to grow my seedlings, but I actually use it for brewing kombucha. So you can brew kombucha with your heat mat. We've had someone that writes in, they have a micro bakery. They use our jumbo heat mat, and they use it for proofing sourdough starter. They use it actually as a proofing tray, which is absolutely amazing. They put it inside of a cardboard box. They put their sourdough starter in there. They close the box up. It traps that heat in, and it's an amazing proofing box for their sourdough starter. And then finally, this is just a silly one, but I've had a lot of people that it's not advocated for it, it's not intended for it, but they say after a long day of being out in the garden, they'll plug this in and use it for their sore muscles. Again, not recommended in the slightest. It's not a medical device whatsoever, but but I've heard of people using that too, which is kind of funny. So what I'm getting at is heat mats can be very beneficial. They can be super beneficial. And I know that as gardeners, sometimes they can be very confusing, right? These tools can be very confusing. They can be very ambiguous. And we can see online cases in which they're being misused, but think that it's correct. And then we blame ourselves for why we get results that aren't great. When in reality, if we know the very finite details, the nuanced details for what makes them a beneficial tool, it can make us a better gardener. And so I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you all learned something new. If you did learn something new, post them in the comments box down below. Let me know what you learned. I know this is a very fundamentally basic video, but you would be blown away. Maybe even you yourself thought that you need to keep your seedlings on the heat mat the whole time. And then you wondered why your seedlings got leggy. You wondered why they were stressed. You wondered why they were drying out all the time. You wondered why things were inconsistent. Well, it's because you were not using the tool the way that it was intended or how it was intended. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you all learned something new. If you did, make sure to throw a like up there, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll catch you all on the next episode. As always, this is Luke from the MIgardener channel, reminding you to grow bigger. Spring is right around the corner, and we'll catch you later. See ya. Bye. Hey, thank you so much for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed, consider clicking this one. You'll probably enjoy it just as much. I want to thank you for your viewership, because without it, this channel would not be as amazing as it is. Also, if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. It's free, and we upload videos every Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. We also have vegetable seeds, fertilizer, or tools. If you need any of those, consider visiting MIgardener.com. Links will be in the description box below. We've got you covered. And as always, we'll see you all in the garden. Take care. Bye.